What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Brew Review. This week we are brewing and reviewing yet another Brandywine Coffee Roasters coffee. This is an Ethiopian Sidiwa Alonso. It's an extended fermentation, which is why I bought it. I've never had an extended fermentation and I was curious to try it. It is a washed coffee, which in my last video I told you all how I felt about washed coffees. But we'll get into that later in the video. So for now, without further ado, let's get to the brew. All right, guys, we're doing something a little different this week. I am going to go through the brew and talk to you and tell you how to do it as I do it. So first thing you're gonna start out with doing, getting your water up to temp. Right now we're sitting at 201 degrees. I'm gonna turn that up a notch because I'm looking for 202, 203, just hopefully get us to that point where we need to be at. So, I don't know if you can see me or not, but you're gonna start out with folding your V-60 filter just a little bit over. Just like that, if you can see it. That just helps it sit in the cone a little bit better, or in the brewer. Stick that bad boy in there, grab your water. Always pre-wet your filters. It helps get out the papery taste and sometimes the bleach taste just from the paper. You always want to pre-rinse, you know, get those flavors out like I said, but it also preheats your brewer and your vessel, or whatever they call this part right here, I don't know. So I'm gonna set that off to the side, let that just warm up a little bit. Next, we're gonna get our beans ground up. So if you have a pearl like I have as a scale, you always want to make sure when you're weighing out your beans that you're just on the weight. When you're on the timer, it doesn't give you the point, like 0.5, and we're going for 15.2 grams of coffee. So backwards for me, so let's see. All right, we're at 15.4. I always put an extra 0.2 to 0.4 grams in the grinder, just because sometimes the grinder eats it up a little bit. Put that back up there. All right, so stick that in there, stick that in there. We're gonna skip this part because it gets loud. All right, now that we've got our coffee ground up, I'm going medium coarse, medium grind size. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but about that. We're gonna dump our old water. Always have an extra like catcher by you. Dump your old water into, throw the brewer on top after you're done with your brew. All right. So tear that out, make sure you're at tare. I just bumped the table, so now it's freaking out. 15.2. Let's see, where are we at? 15.2 on the dot. Something you want to make sure that you always have is something to agitate with. I just use this little, I think it's for cocktails, like putting olives or something on it. So you want to make an indent in the coffee right in the middle. Switch this over to timer mode, and now we're ready to start brewing. So our bloom is going to last 45 seconds and it's going to be 45 grams. And in that process, I'm going to give it a little bit of agitation, then we're going to let it sit. So start our timer right as we start the brew. Going up to 45 grams. Starting in the middle, making small circles. Going to the outside. Stopping at 45 grams, throw that back on the heater. Take your agitation device and just make sure that all of the grounds got wet. That way we get an even extraction. Set that over to the side because we're going to need that again. And now we wait 45 seconds. We're going to take it from 45 grams up to 100. It's going to be our second pour. We're at 43, so let's go ahead and get ready. Second pour up to 100. So I'm going to let that sit for another 30 seconds. Well, 15 seconds from when the pour ends. So that'll be a minute 15. And then we're going to go up another 50 grams. We're going to do 50 grams every 15 seconds. Minute 30, another 50 grams. And as you're going, you just want to make sure that you're pouring evenly in a circle. Oops. Minute 45, final pour. We're taking it up to 250 because this is a 1 to 15 ratio. Sometimes you go a gram over, is what it is. Now we're going to go in again, but this time we're just going to stir the top of the coffee. And not super crazy at all. Just stir the top. What that's doing is that's putting the fines on the side of the filter and hopefully catching it. That way we don't over extract. And then at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I always like to do a little spin. I'm pretty sure the first guy that I saw do that was Scott Rao. So I call it the Rao spin. I think other people call it that too. I did not come up with that name. And we're aiming for a brew time in between 3 minutes and 30 seconds to 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not really sure with this coffee where it's going to be good at, but usually in between that 3:30 to 4:30, that's where you want to hit it. And this one's taking a little bit longer, so we'll see. We'll see if we get in that range or not. And cut. Pop, pop. Scoop it up, pop, pop.
Obviously, this is not the first coffee I've drank today. So, yes, I've had some coffee already. This is not the actual coffee I'm going to drink in a review.
All right. And it's looking like it's timing out at 4:19, so close to 4:20. Now, I always give it a little stir. Throw a lid on that bad boy. Let it sit for 10 minutes. By letting it sit, we're giving it time to cool down and all those natural sugars to really come out and just let the flavors explode. So now it's time to review. All right, guys, we are back. We've got the brew and it is ready to be reviewed. Smells amazing. All right, let's go in for that first sip. All right, so first thing I want to point out that I'm tasting is peaches, like extremely peaches. I don't know if I've ever had a coffee that tastes so much like a specific thing, but that's just like, it's like I just cut up a peach and pop some in my mouth. That is fruity, that is peachy. It is very sweet, very sweet. Something I want to say real quick is I have not read the flavor notes. So I do not know what the roaster tasted out of this bean. So it's cooled down a little bit. I'm tasting a tea-like feature in it. I want to say maybe chamomile, kind of like. Maybe not. You know, no, I'm going to say chamomile. I'm tasting chamomile. And I think I said this already. Sweetness. It's very sweet. But it's not like a normal sugar. It's kind of honey-like. It's hard to explain. It's going with the tea-like notes that I was pulling out. Really, really sweet, honey, floral-ish. good. That's good. Last week's video, I said I'm not doing wash coffees. I won't do it. And here we are this week. I've got a wash coffee. And you might be thinking, Silas, why would you say one thing and then do the complete opposite the next week? Well, I actually looked into this bean and the producer, and it turns out that they're right off of a river. And super clean water. I don't know the river's name, so I couldn't look it up or anything. I don't know how much water they actually use from it, but I do know that they get their water solely from that river. The stuff I was reading about it says that it is an extremely blue river, so maybe I can pop up a picture if I can find one of the river. Boom, boom. But yeah, like I said, this is a Brandywine coffee roasters. They're out of Wilmington, Delaware, and it is, I'm probably gonna butcher it again, Sadiqua Alonso. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. This is an extended fermentation though, and basically what that means is, unlike how we talked about anaerobic process in a previous video, it's kind of like that, but instead of putting all the beans in, locking it up, airtight, what they do is over like 3 days, I think, what they do is they take the harvest from 3 different days and they put it into a barrel. But the first harvest goes in the first day, the second harvest goes in the second day, and the third day, obviously. And it's all from that day. So it gives you, it's supposed to give more unique characteristics in the bean. But I'll be honest with you, I really, this is a good coffee. There are good flavor notes in it. It tastes good. It's well balanced. It's not very acidic, which is something I really like about natural coffee, is that it's like, it kind of makes your tongue pucker up a little bit. This, not doing that for me, which is kind of a bummer. And that's usually why I stick to natural coffees. Natural processed coffees. All coffee's natural. And it just uses so much water. So much water. So I'm a little like, you know, I'm torn on the whole water thing. Yeah, as it cools down, definitely more of that sweetness comes out of it. So I tasted peaches. I tasted sweet, honey. I'm gonna stop saying sweet. Obviously, honey is sweet. Honey, and then tea, like I said, chamomile maybe. I don't know a lot about teas, so I don't want to start saying like, yeah, it tastes like a specific tea, but I want to say chamomile-ish. So floral, honey, peaches. That's what I got. Let's look at the flavor notes. So what the bag says, we taste passion fruit, didn't taste that. Raspberry, no. Green tea. So I did taste chamomile, but that's kind of different. And then floral honey. Picked up honey. So I would probably say that the green tea and the honey, I'm getting that floral, sweet honey, chamomile, kind of goes along with what those flavor notes are. But the peach, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm definitely picking up peach from that. That's good. That is a good coffee. I'm not gonna lie. For a washed coffee, it's a solid bean. If this was a natural process, I would be like, what the heck is this? There's not a whole lot of complexity with this, is what I would have to say. Which is an alright thing. Not all coffees have to be complex, crazy, exotic, crazy thing you've never tasted before. Sometimes you just need a coffee that's going to be solid, and that will be able to be made one way once, and then you'll be able to do it every time brewing it that same way. Naturals, it's kind of hard to do that. Yeah, solid coffee, solid coffee. So this comes from the Sadiqua. I feel like I'm butchering that, but region of Ethiopia. I think it's about 300 to 400 different farmers are bringing their crops in, which I was reading a little bit about the different farmers. And all those farmers, it can go anywhere. There are some farmers that just have a couple trees on their properties, like a little garden, you know, something they do as a hobby. And then there's some people that have 2 to 3 hectares. I don't know if I'm saying that right either. Gosh. This coffee was grown 2,350 MASLL, which just means meters above sea level. And man, let's just talk about Brandywine, their bags a little bit. I love them. I know I've talked about it before. They're just some of the coolest bags. They always have unique art. It's always changing, and they always do the wax seal. The wax seal just gets me. I love it. So I think that wraps up this video. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Shout out to everybody that likes, subscribes, and shares these videos. I think we're up to 28 subscribers, maybe 27, I don't remember. I appreciate every single one of you, even those that just view and don't like. You know, takes 2 seconds to like. Until next week, we'll see ya.